All right, now let's check out the back nine. All right, now we're here, the first hole of the back nine, the Castle hole. This is probably one of the most famous greens in disc golf, I would say, for sure. I'm gonna throw there's kind of two shots on this hole. If you have enough distance, you can kind of go over top of those trees and kind of fade back. If you have the distance, that's the highest percentage shot. If you're not throwing as far, you have to kind of go inside under these trees, which makes it a little bit harder. You're kind of bringing in this tree a little bit into play, and you're also bringing the Christmas trees into play. This first one, I'm gonna try to throw up and high and just kind of see where it kind of lands me. Okay, I threw it over the trees. I just threw it too far to the right. So that was a really good shot. Just threw it a little bit too far to the right. The height was great. I had enough power to get there. I just turned it a little bit too much. So I want to try to keep this one on hyzer a little bit more. There we go. Oh, turn that one again. So I'm just throwing too flippy of disc. Once again, a good shot. Totally happy with it. The wind's just kind of flipping them over. So the first two shots, really good shots. Just kind of turned a little bit too much. Feels like there might be a little bit of a left to right wind just based on how my discs fly. But it's like an optical illusion because the flags are flying this way, but my discs are pushing this way. So kind of weird. But this one I'm gonna just try to throw just left of these Christmas trees. Instead of going over them, I'm gonna kind of take more of a direct route at them. Just like that's cash. That's exactly what I want. So that should be sliding up. Yeah, so that should be about, 30, 40 feet short. I'm gonna try, now that I changed my line, I'm gonna throw one more. There we go. That was a good one. Probably my best one of all, that one. So yeah, yep, this hole is really hard to reach right now because we got an uphill and we're in a headwind, and it's already 530 uphill into a headwind. So yeah, you're just really not seeing many people if it's a headwind like this. Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of playing for par at that point. This is kind of a hole, it's a good hole whenever it's not windy. As soon as it gets windy, pretty much eliminates almost everybody from birdieing it, maybe aside from AB, player of that caliber. Even he's gonna have a hard time reaching it in this wind. Pretty much wind dependent on this hole if you're gonna see birdies or not. And yeah, you just gotta go into it knowing the expectations. If the conditions don't allow for the birdie, they don't allow for the birdie. It doesn't matter how far you throw, you're just really not gonna reach it in a headwind. So just slows your disc so much down going uphill like that. Kind of be content with the par if it's this windy, or just try to hit a long putt. So here's our drives, a lot shorter than normal. Normally I'm throwing and touching the Castle and getting kind of a tap in birdie, but right now we got kind of like a head crosswind that's really slowing them down. So this is going to be a very popular spot in a condition like this that prevents you from parking the hole, which is just kind of trying to gauge how much wind's going to affect it when you're going uphill like this. Is kind of tough. So yeah, just kind of playing a guessing game. Is my disc going to drop or is it going to rise? You don't know what's going to happen. When you're going at this severe of an angle, you don't have the chance of throwing it just flat. You have to throw it up into the wind, and it's just kind of a guessing game. So getting a couple putts. As you saw, one of them dropped, one of them rose, and that's just kind of the randomness you get when you're playing super windy elevation holes like this. But we'll take a couple more putts just to, what do we got now? We got like tailwind, tail crosswind. So go back to this, that's something I do a lot of. I don't just putt randomly. I go to a spot where somewhere in this general vicinity is going to be a lot of where the drives that I throw land. So I might as well putt from that same spot. So there we go. That felt a lot better. So wind didn't affect it too much. Kind of just got the stroke down, and that's just simply a feel thing. You saw the first couple had a bunch of random drops and rises. Those ones I just felt a little more comfortable because I putted from that spot. Now if I come through and play this hole during tournament time, I feel a lot more comfortable because I've kind of got that muscle memory from that exact spot. All right, hole 11, we got 850 feet, par 4, downhill to the right. We got you can kind of see the gap. You kind of want to throw a shot, whatever shot shape you throw, you want to try to line yourself up with the gap. That makes it the easiest to kind of enter the woods where the basket is. I'm going to kind of go with like a smooth hyzer over top of these Christmas trees and try to fade back and line myself up into the gap. So that one just completely turned over. I thought we were playing a crosswind, and it didn't really touch it at all. So I'm going to throw another disc. and throw a little bit more stable, since I know it's not a right to left like I thought it was. So that one's a little bit better. It's going to hyzer. Should be, you know, manageable in those Christmas trees somewhere in that field. I should line up to the gap pretty good from there and be able to throw a hyzer into the green. I have my spot here. I got kind of a rough lie. Got these kind of weed things here, and then also this Christmas tree. But yeah, it's pretty much a shot. If I can throw another, of course, couple feet, I'm in the wide open, don't have to deal with this crap. But I'm still gonna throw a shot from here, just to kind of throw and get it kind of dialed in. But yeah, I'm just trying to throw through this gap, and as you can see, if I go a little bit further to the right, I'm lined up to the gap. But even here, I'm still lined up for a hyzer. So I'll just kind of throw a shot just like that. That kind of glides into the gap and should have like about a 40, 50 footer from right there where I landed. Obviously, if I don't land in the bush, I can get more of a run up and give myself a higher percentage shot. But from there, I still can make the birdie putt. That's the difference between being in position and out of position. If I'm in position, I can kind of have more momentum get into my shot. Whereas it's always good to practice standstills. For me, when I throw a shot like this, I'm trying to get on my back leg to try and get that as much momentum, since I don't have the luxury of running up because there's trees in my way. I just use my back leg to kind of go from back to forward to get that momentum instead of running up like I would if I was in the wide open. So here's my shot from the standstill. Pretty solid shot, no doubt. You know, like I said, about 40, 50 short. Nothing wrong with that at all. I was able to still get the birdie. But as you guys know, if I'm in the open, I can kind of have a way. As you see, all these putts are doing all kinds of wonky stuff. It's ripping wind right now. And yeah, it's just tough to gauge whether your putt's going to drop or rise or any of that stuff. So yeah, that's just the inconsistencies you're going to get when it's windy like this. But yeah, I mean, that's the difference between being able to park the hole and being able to just throw it to like 40, 50 feet, being in position, out of position. So yeah, still made the birdie. That's what, you know, even if you're out of position, you still can get the birdie. It's just got to work for it a little bit harder. We got to execute a better upshot or make a longer putt. It's all in the mindset. You can still do it. It's going to be harder. All right, hole 12, we got 720 feet. We got a tricky par 4. These trees have grown up over the years. I like to take this left to right shot. You used to be able to go over top of these trees, but now it kind of forces you to kind of go the left to right gap and kind of throw an ante into that mouth of that fairway. You can see the one lone kind of small tree. If I can hit that or be right in that tree, that's pretty much exactly the money spot. So yeah, I'm just trying to throw a left to right general shot along this left hand side and just finish straight. You don't want to finish hyzer because there's a side slope that's filtering into the crap. So I want to really focus on throwing the left to right shot. Well, I threw it left to right all right, just kind of jerked over on it. That's just once again, that's just going to be basically a layup for par, no chance for birdie. So this one's going to be better. There we go, that one's way better. So it's going to turn, should hyzer at the end, just like that, right by the tree that I was kind of looking at. That's pretty much cash. Literally within a couple feet of that tree that I was looking at. We'll throw one more. And I like throwing it low like that because it doesn't have a chance to hyzer out. If I throw this same shot higher, it's going to have time to hyzer out and go down into the crap. So just like that. Same exact shot, just way higher. Now look at it. It's got a chance to go so far into the junk. But yeah, that second general I threw dead straight. That's going to be the ideal play and the shot that I'm kind of going for. So we'll get up there and throw a couple shots from there. That's the sweet spot. All right, so we got my good general in a spot that is kind of exactly what I would be going for. My tournament play for sure. And I'm going to go ahead once again, as you guys know, I'm going to grab my softest, straightest upshot disc, which is my base plastic slammer and my medium harp. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it just kind of on a shot like this, going this far downhill, I have to feel like I'm throwing down. If I throw just what feels like flat, it's going to be super high. So I'm going to throw down, let my disc get to the ground and stick. That's the biggest thing here. Just like that, get to the ground, hopefully stick. Absolutely perfect. You see how it didn't skip that much? And that's just because it's grabbing that ground. This one, I'm gonna have to take, probably throw a little bit, because it's a little bit more stable. It is a slammer, so I'm gonna go right of this tree, flex around it, do something like that, and it should land pretty soft. Yep, exactly like that. So have to throw right side if I want to throw that flex slammer shot. Harp's a little bit straighter of a disc, so I can just fire straight at it. Just whatever shot I feel more comfortable with that day. All right, so we're down here to the green. We got, as you can see, we're at this sloped part here. Both of my discs, luckily I controlled the speed and didn't go too far long. But you go, you know, even just 10 or 15 feet past the basket, it falls off way behind it. So sweet spot is short, and if you want to go right, you still have a little bit of room right, and that's why I like the forehand, because it kind of feeds into a spot where you still have a putt, whereas the backhand's just going to want to fade and skip way down the hill. So forehand, soft plastic upshot disc, that is the play for this hole. All right, we got hole 13, 472 foot par 3 downhill. Doesn't play 470, probably plays about 430, 420, because the downhill is going to help you get a lot more distance. And a lot of players you'll see take the kind of hyzer flip with the mid-range along this left-hand side. You can see that big tree is a good reference point. You want to kind of start your disc at that and then kind of drift into the gap. Something like that. I drifted a little bit too much, but it should trickle down there and give me a putt. Yeah, so I got all the way down there. It's probably about 30 feet short, something like that. Very, very fine shot. So I'm gonna throw one more. Try to throw a little bit more at the tree, then drift, almost like I'm gonna hit it. That one's pretty much the same shot. A little bit more turn and clip something. Sounded like. But yeah, that's kind of the name of the game. Throw at that tree and drift right into the gap and give yourself a good downhill putt. So we have my shot, my first shot, we got about a 45-foot downhill death putt and kind of a tree right here. So for those people that don't really want to straddle putt, if you like, sometimes I don't feel like straddle putting and I kind of get lazy and kind of cheat it to where you can kind of, you should be straddle putting, but I'm still a legal stance and I kind of can get as close as I can. You can kind of contort your body to where you don't really have to straddle putt, kind of cheat it a little bit. That's just a pro tip for if you don't feel like straddle putting. There we go. That was good. So see how I'm not standing like I normally do. I'm kind of doing this, but then leaning to the side here, and I'm leaning to the side away from the tree, and then I'm just doing a normal stroke. So kind of gives you the opportunity to where you don't have to straddle putt. You can still feel semi-comfortable, even if you're by a tree. So those for my non-straddle putters out there. All right, hole 14, 440 foot downhill par 3. We got a new wooden structure there, and how that affects the hole is it makes it to where you want to throw, once again, you want to throw it higher. You don't even want to risk hitting that, so that how you can kind of mitigate that is throw your disc higher so it has time to fade back to the left. I'm going to throw a medium stable Explorer, not super overstable, but not really flippy, kind of at those benches on hyzer, and let it kind of glide. And once again, this hole, 30 feet left is kind of your sweet spot landing zone. Just like that. It's going to land left, should hit and skip or stick hopefully. Yeah, right there, 40 feet to the left. Totally happy. No risk, no chance for going out of bounds. Yeah, you'd look at this hole and think, oh yeah, I want to park it. Nope, at the professional level, you want to play to the safe side, give yourself that birdie putt. If you try to park it, you're risking going straight out of bounds, which I'm not really willing to do that. I want to play the high percentages. So throw another one. See, that one looks good. That's really good, actually. So it's going to hit left, filter to about 35, 40 feet, just like that. See the circle just went a couple feet left of the circle's edge. Exactly where I'm trying to throw. Now we'll go up there and take a couple putts from that sweet spot zone. All right, so we're still on the same hole here, hole 14. And if you do happen to go in the water, I want to be prepared for the drop zone shot, which is right here. So I'm going to get at least one rep in so I can know the distance and how far it's playing. And I'm going to throw my, once again, soft plastic disc because we're somewhere now near the water and I want it to just get a nice gentle landing and not skip a bunch. A little bit too straight. Looks like I'm probably just going to hit the wall and fall in the water. So yeah, I like the shot, like the line. Just threw it a little bit too low, which is fine. Maybe I'll throw one more just to kind of get a little bit better feel. That wasn't the best shot to get the feel that I want on a hole like this. But yeah, I like the line. I just want to favor maybe a little bit more left even. So that way I'm not. So that's good. It's a little bit further left than I want, but still Gives me a little bit of feel. Got about a 35 footer to save the bogey if I were to go out of bounds. So yeah, I like it's always good to have that banked knowledge from a drop zone like this, as opposed to being all pissed off that you went out of bounds and then not having a feel for how far that drop zone shot is. I am a pro and I do throw in the water, but most of the times it's on the edge of the water and I can get it very easily. So no lost soldier. The soft harp is coming back home. We're here to the landing zone here at hole 14, left side. And of course, in theory, you're looking like, oh, you want to be in the wood chips, but you know, of course that would be nice. But for me, I'm much more content with having a super high percentage and not giving my disc any sort of chance to go in the water and just putting from here, which is about 45 feet. I do have that wooden post behind it, so I know if I do miss it, it's probably gonna hit that, which makes me a little bit more comfortable putting a death putt like this. That I can, if I do miss, then I'm not having to go in the water and lose my putter forever. So this is a good spot from the drop zone. This is where my drop zone shot landed. This is where my tee shot landed. So anything in the wood chips, in between me and the wood chips, are considered a good shot. If you want to land closer, you got to risk going in the water, which is not a risk I'm willing to take. All right, hole 15, we got 322 feet, par 3, slightly downhill, and obviously we got a really tight gap. So I'm going to go with compass, my straightest mid-range, kind of on the hyzer flip line. And obviously, you know, really the name of the game on this hole is just getting your disc through there however you want. Flex, some people feel more comfortable with the flex. Right now, I kind of feel comfortable with this hyzer flip line. Just like that. If it missed that last tree on the left, it should skip right just like that up to the pin. So that's kind of the one shot, the one tree you have to miss. If you can miss that on the left or right, you're going to skip up for a putt. And that's... This time it looks like I'm going to hit it. Okay, I just barely missed it again. So that's kind of the shot I'm trying to play. Just miss that corner tree. If I go straight and hit through the gap, I'm going to be parked. And if I go that left side gap, it's going to trickle to about 30 feet. So that's something that you definitely keep in mind just to give yourself that putt on this hole, because if you hit a tree and bounce one way or another, it's going to be a tough scramble for par. So both my mid-ranges, they're both my straight mid-ranges. They kind of went left of that guardian tree, kind of left me here for pretty manageable putt, as you can see. So yeah, that middle tree is kind of that was a crazy putt. It's kind of the guiding point, and if you can get a birdie putt or not. A lot of people are going to hit it, and if you do, you're really not getting a birdie. But if you miss it left or right, you're going to get up here and have that birdie putt you're looking for. All right, 16, we got 475 foot par 3, dead straight. This is an awesome hole. I'm going to go with kind of one of my beat up generals, and we got those two trees in the middle. I almost try to go right at those and almost even just go right of them. If I can just carry an anhyzer that goes right through that gap, I'm going to be putting inside the circle. So starting on this left-hand side, running up at those trees, and then kind of relying on the understability of the general to kind of turn into the gap. A little bit too flippy, looks like, so I'm going to hit that. So I just didn't start it far enough to the left and then let it turn. I started it in the middle of the gap, and it kind of turned into that guardian tree. So I'm going to throw one more and try to put a little bit more hyzer. Looks like there's a crosswind that's also pushing that way as well. Oh, I didn't turn it. So just kind of throwing a little bit off on the release here, but try to get one down there. This one will be a good one. Oh my gosh, that's kind of a shank, but it might get lucky all the way through the right side gap. Looks like it did. So yeah, that one kind of got a 40 footer, but this hole is tough. I mean, they opened it up a little bit. As you can see, the gap in the middle, they cut down the tree to where it's on the right side. It's a little bit more clear, but it's still not a gimme hole. You gotta work hard, and you gotta hit a gap with a driver. Makes it tough. So I'll kind of try to scramble from a couple of those and see if I can't get a par for when I need it. All right, gonna throw a shot from here, try to kind of scramble. This is a tricky little shot. I'm in the bush, got this first tree right in front of me, so I kind of gotta go outside of this and inside the next trees in front of me. Okay, so just barely clipped. But I mean, yeah, this shot is very tricky. Once you go off the fairway in this hole, especially with a driver, you're gonna fade so far. That's the tricky part, is you kind of have to throw a driver or a fairway to get there, which also means if you get a kick, you're gonna kick real far one direction or another. And so that's what makes this hole so tricky. And you have the pond over here. So if you kick left, your OB taking an automatic bogey. But this hole is a great hole. You got to hit the tunnel with a driver. Like I said, you don't have the luxury of really throwing a mid-range because it's pretty far, 475. And of course you could force and throw a mid-range super hard, but that's just not what you want to do on a hole like this. You won't really see anybody doing that. Everyone's going to grab at least a fairway, more than likely a driver. This one's one of my better drives. So this is kind of, whoops. Didn't make any long putts on that one, but yeah. So I mean, and then this one, you know, obviously if I throw a bad drive, I might have to settle for a bogey like this one is going to have to. Oh, almost saved the par. But yeah, that's hole 16. Great hole coming down the stretch. It could be a 2-stroke swing hole if you birdie it and someone bogeys it, which is definitely a likelihood of that happening, no doubt. Hole 17, 636 foot, par 4. This hole is all about the drive. If you throw a good drive, the upshot should be pretty routine. You want to kind of throw through the gap and then turn. You don't want to turn too early. You're going to hit the trees on the right hand side. You also don't want to hyzer out too early. So it's a very specific shot. You kind of want to go out and then rely on the flippiness of your driver to then let it turn. So you also got to keep it high, which also challenges that ceiling, but you have to keep it high because those Christmas trees are pretty tall. So you kind of want to throw it out of the gap and then turn to where you can't see it. If you turn enough to where you can't see it around the corner, it's in the kind of in that sweet spot. That's pretty much it. Exactly what I'm going for there. It's exactly the shot I want. Perfect line, perfect height, everything like that, and should be in a good spot. Let's try one more. Took a chunk out of my disc here on the last hole. Hit a rock. Yeah. So I'll throw this orange general. Same flight, hopefully, as that last one. There we go. See, that's got turned around the corner. That one's really nice. I like that a lot. So really good, that first and the second one both. We'll see kind of the difference. That one I kind of threw around the corner a little bit higher and around the corner. So we'll kind of see the difference between the first one and the second one, just to kind of gauge the height differential and see where it puts me in the fairway. All right, so here's the first shot. This is kind of ideal. The second one went a lot further, but it kind of challenged the OB. I don't really want to be even anywhere near the out of bounds, so I'd much rather play this shot. Higher percentage, no chance for out of bounds, just a way higher percentage chance for birdie. So this shot's kind of going to be a nose up because we're going uphill. So you kind of want to do a nose up to where it's going to then kill the speed once you're going back down the hill. Kind of do like a parachute type landing. So now there's the parachute at the end. You gotta always listen to see if it hits anything. That sounded like it hit a rock or something. Should be about 20 feet short. I'm gonna throw a little bit further to the right. Oh, that one's just way early released. Should be down there for a putt still. But yeah, that's kind of, once you get to that spot, it's pretty routine on the upshot to where you're gonna be able to get yourself a good putt for birdie. But yeah, both of those are good shots. Just, yeah, you really want to make sure to, obviously this out of bounds takes you completely out of contention for the birdie. The first one, I think I heard a crack, so I think it hit the rock and just kind of slid to here, which is fine. But yeah, you just kind of want to, this upshot's all about just, yeah, getting down here, giving yourself that look, giving yourself that chance. But I mean, the drive is most important. The upshot obviously is important too. No shots are easy in disc golf. I hate when people say, oh, it's an easy shot. Even if it is an easy shot, you still got to execute the shot and throw it. So never walk up to a shot and thinking it's easy. You got to earn everything. Just like in life, there's nothing, you got to earn everything you get is earned. So same in disc golf. There's no easy stroke, even if it seems routine. All right, hole 18, 640, very uphill. This hole is not 640. I'd say it's more closer to 700, 720 feet because it's uphill the entire way. Something you can't probably tell on camera is you're throwing like this uphill the whole way, and so it just makes it so much farther. And I'm gonna have to throw a pretty understable general on this shot. And the crazy thing is you almost have to hit this left tree to then flip into the fairway, because if you don't, you're just gonna turn early and hit those trees on the right hand side. So you don't have the luxury to kind of swing it out wide because that tree's in the way. but at the same time, you kind of want to hug it tight to that tree to hit the fairway. So it's a tough, very challenging shot. And you don't also want to throw it too high, but you also don't want to hit the hill right in front of you, because that can happen if you're not careful. So very tricky shot. I'm just going to try to throw it nose up with a flippy disc and have it turn naturally. Oh wow, look at, I almost hit that tree. I was so close. Now it's going to be absolutely perfect. But you can see how close it took. I was literally a foot from disaster. And now I'm absolutely, couldn't be in a better spot. Completely perfect spot. But as you saw, I almost hit this tree, and you almost have to do that to kind of get that turn. Because if I go any further right, I'm just going to run into those trees on the right-hand side. So we'll try to throw that shot again. Just like that. Started it more right, now look what's going to happen. Right into the trees. Yeah, hit the trees. So that shows you how close you have to be to this left-hand side tree if you really want to throw the ideal shot. I'm going to throw one more forehand, and I'm going to try to, and it's going to have to be a lot of flex on it. Start on this right, start at those trees that I hit on my second backhand with the forehand, and just keep the turn on it. Just like that. I like that a lot. Should come back. And yeah, that was really good. So we'll see kind of where that lands compared to the backhand. The backhand is going to be a lot further up the fairway, so it's going to be an easier upshot than the forehand. All right, so I'm going to throw from my forehand. The backhand, as you saw, was a ton of risk, and I really don't think I really want to take on that much risk on a hole like this and risk getting a double bogey, potentially something like that. Yeah, you could say, oh, the result is great. Why don't you just do that? Well, it's because I know that there's just a lot more variables that can go wrong, and I would just rather settle for this because it's very manageable. I'm not taking as much risk, and I still have just as good, I mean, what is this, only 50, 60, 70 feet distance? I still can throw my nice, comfortable forehand where I don't feel like I have to crush it. On a shot like this is challenging, obviously, because we got this tree in the middle, which basically forces you to either throw a flex or throw a hyzer, which makes it kind of tough because it's like right in the perfect spot where you'd want to throw a nice stock smooth forehand. So you kind of got to make the decision. I'm going to go left-hand side on those trees on the left-hand side. Kind of start on that one, the one on the right of those two trees, and just kind of swing it in from there. So that's a little wide, but it should skip off the cement. And see, that sounds like it didn't skip, but it was really close. So just based on their reaction up there. So throw one more a little bit higher, a little bit harder. So that one should be the same shot, and it should skip. Yeah, just like that. So those two were the one out of bounds and one inbounds, pretty much the exact same shot. Yeah, one of them you could just say landed out of bounds, but I guarantee they landed within a foot or two of each other. So this one I'm gonna do the same thing. That looks really good as well, so that should be good. Yep, perfect, right around the corner. And so yeah, now we walk up to this backhand, the super high risk. Once again, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, it's a way easier shot. Well, yeah, once it lands, if you know, there's a lot of other things that can happen. I could hit that tree that I missed by this much to get to this point, or I could just play to the high percentage forehand spot and rely on that a little bit further forehand, but still very high percentage without having to, you know, potential to get a bogey, double bogey. All right, guys, so if you haven't known, my foundation, the Sockibomb Foundation, does a $1,000 donation to whatever player hits an ace on the Pro Tour Elite Series or higher. And Joey was lucky enough to hit an ace this last week at the GMC. So he's going to be able to pick a high school, and we're going to donate $1,000 worth of merchandise, discs, and basket to the school to get them going on disc golf. What school is it going to be, Joey?
I'll be my alma mater, Highland Park Senior High School, St. Paul, Minnesota. And yeah, shout out to Rick for helping out. Hopefully a bunch of kids back home get to play some disc golf.
What hole did you ace?
I aced hole 10 at Fox Run.
Super cool. That's awesome. So he was one of what, 3 or 4 aces this week?
I was one of 4 aces that day.
So yeah,
4 aces
probably like 5 or 6. So that was we're donating $5,000 or $6,000 worth of stuff to everybody through the foundation, and just that's something we've done. This is our 2nd year doing it. So just wanted to showcase it. Showcase Joey. Minnesota High School, Highland High School is going to get a box from Sockibomb. Hopefully the players have the choice to deliver it hand by hand, or the foundation will just deliver it to them via the mail. So
thanks, Rick.
Good shot, bud.
Appreciate it.
So the first shot, as you can see, I threw it just the same exact shot as that first one. It probably just, instead of getting a skip, it just kind of hit this. So something to keep in mind, keep it up high, keep it over this lip so you don't have to rely on the skip. and you can just catch the green. So, but that was the difference between the first one landing safe and this one landing OB. And then obviously if you get the skip and you throw a good shot, pretty much a tap in. This hole, yeah, definitely a two-stroke swing hole. If you go OB just barely short, a couple feet short, you're getting a pretty much automatic bogey unless you hit like a 50, 60 footer, which you can from the drop zone. So that's Maple Hill this year. We got some changes. Glad we could bring them to you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. All right, guys, I just want to give a big shout out to Joey Tamale for filming the videos, and I want to thank Dynamic Disc for sponsoring the videos and making this possible. And thank you guys for watching and tuning in. I've been having a blast doing this all year, and it's nothing without your guys' support. So thanks again to everybody.